Hello indie game fans, so many great games in June, so little time, so let's begin with some special mentions. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is an excellent return to form for the arcade beat-em up, with wonderful pixel art coming to us from noted indie developer Tribute Games, but doesn't quite count due to the IP, but if you love this genre, be sure to get this.
Join the mobile infantry and save humanity from arachnid aggression.
Another title disqualified due to being a licensed game is Starship Troopers Terran Command, but much like the Dune RTS earlier this year, it's a great one of these, where it looks like IP holders have finally figured out what to do with their properties. This has you facing off against the arachnid threat, where the number of bugs on screen is impressive, being a squad-based RTS like Company of Heroes and does nail the tone of the original movie. Proper indie games begin with Project Warlock 2, the sequel to one of the best indie first-person shooters, where you're a warlock wielding guns, having a fully equipped arsenal to choose from, which includes swords, machine guns, and magical staves, leading to all action all the time. This is the pinnacle of shooty bang bang fun, with an impressive developer behind this, since this young man wasn't even born when the original Doom was released, but was introduced to the classics by his father, which can certainly be seen as an act of great parenting. This is in early access with 1 out of 3 planned chapters in the game, but the progression system has been tweaked as compared to the original, so I'll give this some time to see how it pans out. I really like the clean, pixel art look of Anvil Saga, a management sim RPG where you play as a blacksmith, having to build out your workshop, craft tools, weapons, armor, and perhaps influence the fate of the kingdom as well. You're expanding your humble shop into a massive workshop filled with plenty of rooms, underground facilities, fiery forges, and you'll have to recruit and manage a team to keep things going, all while trying to keep your customers happy and even having to balance relationships with different factions, adding a little bit of a Reigns-like element into this game. While the PSX era look isn't my favourite despite having played a ton of Final Fantasy VII, I'll admit, the graphics of Dread Delusion did begin to grow on me, giving it an otherworldly quality which is in line with the vibe of this game. It is an open-world RPG with surprisingly deep lore, where people have been comparing this to The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind in terms of overall feel. It is another early access title, so it lacks the breadth of content expected from such an RPG, but what is here is impressive so far and is worth a look. Diablo Immortal is rubbish, so we do have to get our action RPG fix elsewhere, with Elaloth Champions of the Four Kingdoms providing a decent but different alternative. While it looks like an isometric CRPG like Baldur's Gate or Planescape Torment, combat does take place in real time and is skill based, so you do have to time your attacks or dodge out of the way. It is another open world entry with 4 unique kingdoms to explore, where you're finding your own way in the world, with the overall plot, if you choose to do it, being to stop a dark god. We have had a number of awesome new cyberpunk action games in recent months, with Sanabi being the title of interest here. It is a super stylish title where you play as a retired veteran with a prosthetic grappling hook arm called into service to hunt down a mysterious entity only known as Sanabi. You end up teaming with a brilliant hacker as your partner, eventually unraveling the secrets of the corrupted ruling elite, as is expected from cyberpunk fiction. Indie game fans will certainly see similarities to Katana Zero, with another obvious inspiration being FromSoft's Sekiro, combined beautifully in this game. I think that the city landscapes are the highlights of this, as are the challenging bosses, with more content to come in early access, but I can already recommend this game. Speaking of early access, one of the best games to ever come out of that system is Raft. And yes, while it is cliche by now how many survival games go through early access, the time that it had for iteration and improvement has resulted in an awesome final product. What starts off rather simply as trying to survive on a raft has turned into so much more. We are able to build a home on a ship and sail forth to explore the world, including land masses with entire cities on this being more than meets the eye. By my estimates, the developer, or whoever held the most equity in the company, are probably set for life with this release alone, so I'll be interested to see if this gets continued support, if the developers would make something new, or simply retire and disappear from the internet, but it's such an amazing story that I had to highlight. Vampire Survivors-like titles keep on coming with 20 Minutes Till Dawn, a pretty popular title that, in some ways, does bring this sub-genre back to its roots. The biggest difference is, you need to aim your weapons. So what is old is new again, but if you love blasting away at hordes of enemies, it's a title to get.
Why do they need assassins in heaven? To do someone's dirty work.
Everyone and their mother has been talking about Neon White, a speedrunning focused first-person shooter. We are trying to complete the levels as quickly as possible, sparking more than a few friendly challenges between friends due to the leaderboard system. It feels great to play, with the card-based weapon system being unobtrusive, with ammo to fire a weapon and then discarding the card to activate its special ability. But I have to agree with the sentiment that the writing is kind of cringe, but will satisfy your competitive itch. It is rare that we get truly innovative ideas in games, more commonly seen in indies, with the perfect example of that being Card Shark, a narrative adventure game where you're allowed to cheat at cards. You play as a scoundrel in 18th century France, having to cheat and swindle your way into high society, but then find yourself embroiled in the most delectable tale of conspiracy and intrigue. The innovative ways that you're allowed to cheat is fascinating, and when you do pull it off, it feels amazing, and add to that unique art and great writing, and you have a standout for the year. If you love tactics titles, buy Symphony of War: The Nephilim Saga. Despite the generic story, the most important tactical gameplay portion is fantastic, with plenty of units, formations, and heroes to worry about, with great pixel art, so it takes the #1 spot. Watch this video for more tactical goodness, and I will see you after the jump.